Hello, ladies and gents. 2019 has been a great year. The end of 2019 is approaching. As 2020 begins, a lot of children and grandchildren are waiting for the 2020 Parents and Grandparents Sponsorship Program to open. If you're one of those people and you're anxious about how this will work out, I hope this video will shed some light on what you need to do so you're more prepared. There used to be 5,000 spots for parents and grandparents, and the government of Canada gradually kept on increasing it. Last year, we had 20,000 spots. The government also has been trying to improve the system from paper-based applications to online applications. The government listened to the feedback of the people and they changed the PGP program over the years. It used to be a paper-based application where the ones who submitted the application first got a chance to sponsor their parents, and it was quite hard. People used to stand outside the offices early in the morning, even started late at night just so they could get their applications in. Then they moved to an online system, which was a draw-based system, a random lottery system, where everyone could express their interest for a month, and after the month, out of all of the submissions, through a lottery system, select number of people were chosen and invited to sponsor their parents or grandparents. But again, this system seemed unfair because there were some people who had been living in Canada for many years, had the right level of income, fulfilled all the requirements, but they just couldn't go through because it was a lottery-based system. It was all up to chance. So last year, the government made another change and they introduced the first-in online system, which means that the expression of interest system opened up online, and as soon as 20,000 spots were filled, the system was supposed to close. First come, first serve, or first in system, but online. They wanted to accept 20,000 applications. Last year, when the interest to sponsor form opened up online, 100,000 people logged in and they wanted to submit these applications. Now there were 20,000 spots and 100,000 people trying to submit expressions of interest to sponsor their parents or grandparents. As a result, within 7 minutes, the government accepted 27,000 applications and then they closed the form. So while 27,000 applicants were able to go through, 73,000 people were left hanging. The government accepted 27,000 applications because there were a lot of duplicates in this system as well. For example, there were people who were asking their family members or their friends to log in and submit the form for their parents. So there was a lot of duplication, and the government wanted to accept more applications. But a lot of people were left stranded, they couldn't go through, and this resulted in a lot of frustration. Repair PGP hashtag became very popular. People started complaining on IRCC's website that this is unfair just because we couldn't type fast enough or just because our internet speed wasn't good enough, we couldn't sponsor our parents, and this is unfair. So there was a lot of frustration. Some people even sued IRCC. This resulted in a lawsuit settlement that wasn't made widely public. But anyhow, the system, as you can imagine, is very competitive. All of these 27,000 applications were submitted within 7 minutes. Now, a lot of people who couldn't go through last year, but they had logged in, must be prepared this year. They know what to expect. They've tried this, they've had practice. And I expect this year, if we have the same system, these 20,000 or 27,000 spots could fill up in even lesser time. So it could be even less than 7 minutes if the government doesn't change it. As of now, in December, we're not really sure if the government will make any changes to the system. If there is a major change, I will make a video about it, share with you so you can learn what to expect. But for now, let's assume that the system will remain same as last year. And I'll take you through some of the steps, what to expect, so your anxiety is reduced to some extent and you're more prepared. And hopefully this will give you an edge when you try to sponsor your parents. So let's begin. What items do you need to submit this application? Because it's an online application, if you have a laptop or a desktop computer, that is very important. Make sure you have a reliable internet connection. If you're making a plan to go outside your home, that might be very risky. You might not have the right coverage. I wouldn't recommend you relying on public Wi-Fi's or your cell phone's hotspots. Make sure you're close to a reliable source of internet. If you're using your laptop on a battery, it's fully charged or it's plugged in. So the bottom line is you should have a reliable computer and a reliable internet source. That's very important because a lot of people will be trying to access this form. If you do not have a reliable internet, you might face problems logging in. The second step, you need to have 2 documents, one for yourself and one for your parents or grandparents, whoever you're sponsoring. For yourself, you should have a status in Canada document. Now, this is a document which proves your status in Canada. So if you're a Canadian citizen, it could be your passport. It could be your certificate of citizenship. If you are a permanent resident, it could be your permanent resident card or your COPR, confirmation of permanent residence document, the big document that you received when you became a permanent resident of Canada. It could also be your Canadian birth certificate. It could be your permanent resident card, or it could be your record of landing IMM 1000. Make sure you have one of these documents, your Canadian citizenship certificate, your Canadian birth certificate, your Canadian passport, or if you are a permanent resident, your COPR, your permanent resident card, or your record of landing IMM 1000. If you are a registered Indian, you would need secure certificate of Indian status. From any of these documents, you will need your document number. You need to type in this document number on your online application. So make sure you can easily locate your document number. Have a look at it, write it down. If you have to, type it somewhere, do some practice, and make sure you know where it is before you start your online application. I'll also share some examples. If you're using your birth certificate, this is the place where this number is located. So basically, you're looking for a registration number. Here are some examples from some of the other provinces of Canada. And this is your registration number for Quebec. If you're using your Canadian citizenship certificate, this is where you can find your registration number or certificate number. The certificate number is at the back of your citizenship certificate under the heading Description. It has 8 characters in this order. It begins with 1 letter and it ends in 7 numbers. So look for those 8 characters. If you'll be using your Canadian passport, you have to provide your passport number. You can find this number on your passport information page on the top right corner or on the bottom left corner. If you're using COPR or your confirmation of permanent residence, which is also known as IMM 5292 or IMM 5688, you have to provide the document number. And it begins with the letter T and ends in 9 numbers. If you're a permanent resident and you're using your PR card, you have to provide the ID number, which is located on the front of your PR card in the middle, like so. It has 8 numbers in this order. It begins with 4 numbers and a hyphen and ends in 4 numbers. If you didn't receive your permanent resident card, you can also use your IMM 1000 or your record of landing form. You have to provide your record of landing number. It starts with the W and is followed by 9 numbers, like so. For a secure certificate of Indian status, you have to provide the registration number, which has 9 numbers. So it is very important to have your status in Canada document and know where this document number or certificate number is in that document. The second thing that you need is a scan of your parents' passport. You will need to type in their first name, their last name, their date of birth, and their passport number exactly as written on the passport. I will individually go through all of the fields that you need to fill online so you're prepared. Just make sure you fill all of these fields accurately. Just make sure whatever name you type in, that should match 100% with the passport, because you cannot make any changes in names, in date of births, in document numbers later on. The only thing that you might be able to change is an email address, which really doesn't matter much. So make sure all of the numbers, all of the names, all of the characters that you enter online are very accurate. Now, this is especially important because you'll be in a very high pressure situation. The form closed in 7 minutes last year. This year it could be 4 minutes or 3 minutes. You never know how this is going to work out. So make sure you calm your nerves, you know what to expect, and you write every information as it is officially written down in your official documents. For example, the passports, the PR card, so on and so forth. So let's start step by step with the online form. This is just a sample version of the form. We can practice on it. This form is called Interest to Sponsor form. This is what you will see. Sponsor your parents or grandparents. As the website says, you must submit this form to let us know you're interested. We'll accept forms on first-in basis, like I mentioned. Oh, and by the way, before submitting this form, make sure that you are eligible to sponsor your parents or grandparents. Eligibility includes a number of things. Generally, the most critical part is your income for the last 3 years. You need to have earned LICO plus 30% based on your family size for the past 3 years with notice of assessments, because you will need to provide these notices of assessments later on as you submit your PR application. So make sure you're eligible. Financial eligibility is one of the most important aspects of parental sponsorship. But I'm sure if you have come this far, you are eligible. So let's move on to the form. The first question is, are you a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or a registered Indian? You will choose yes. Then you have to mention your family name, also known as your last name or surname. Just make sure this is 100% as per your passport or PR card or your official status in Canada document. You will then be required to enter your given names, also known as the first name and middle name, exactly as per your passport or your official document. If you're someone who doesn't have a first name, you can click this checkbox and say, I confirm that I do not have a first name. You will then enter your date of birth. That is from a drop-down menu. You will choose your year, your month, and your day of birth. If by any chance you do not know your day or month, you can check this box. Then you have to choose the country where you were born. Now, be very careful. It's not the country where you're living, it's the country where you were born. So it might not be Canada. Next, you're going to type in your address where you physically live in Canada. And it is very important that you should be living in Canada. If you're someone who is a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, but you're not living in Canada right now, you cannot sponsor your parents or grandparents. So make sure you enter the street number, your city, your province, your postal code. If your mailing address is the same as your physical address, choose yes. Then you'll type in your email address and confirm your email address one more time. Then it will ask you for your status in Canada document. From a drop-down list, you will choose which document you will be uploading, whether it's your Canadian birth certificate, your Canadian citizenship certificate, your Canadian passport, your PR card, record of landing, COPR, or status as an Indian. Whichever document that you have, you will choose that document from this drop-down list, and then you will be required to type in that document number and confirm that document number one more time. It's that important. Once you're done with that, you will now need to upload this document. Now, this is a very critical step. A lot of people make mistakes, especially those who are not very tech savvy at times can make a mistake at this step, because there are some requirements to this file that you need to upload. It should be a JPEG, a PDF, or a doc or docx document. I would recommend that you have a JPEG or a PDF, because between the different versions of Word, you might face some problems. Another very critical thing is sometimes the scans of our documents can be huge. They can be 5, 6, 10 MBs. For this particular process, your document size should not exceed 2.5 MB. So make sure well in time that the scan that you have should not be bigger than 2.5 MB. If it is, compress this file, rescan your image at a smaller size before you're ready to upload it. Because if you try to convert it during these 7 minutes, it'll be very difficult. Next, you will be asked about the income requirement. So there are two basic questions. How many people are currently in your family unit? And to do that, you will count yourself, your spouse or common law partner, who could also be your co-signer, by the way. And we will discuss the concept of co-signer soon. You will also include your dependent children, your spouses or partners' dependent children, or any other person that you or your co-signer might have sponsored in the past. So suppose your wife sponsored her parents a few years ago and she is the co-signer in this application. You have to include those parents as well when you count the current size of your family. So suppose if you have 2 kids and your wife sponsored her parents a few years ago, your current family size will be 2 kids, yourself, your wife, and her parents. So a total of 6 family members. That's the current size of your family. If you or your co-signer hasn't sponsored anyone in the past, you will just choose 4, yourself and your dependent children. Now, if you have a child who's, say, 26 years old, he or she is not dependent on you anymore, so you don't have to include him or her. Next, you will type in number of parents and grandparents that you want to sponsor. And if they have any dependent children who are under the age of 22, they can also be sponsored. So you will include all of those. So in this particular case, if you're just sponsoring your parents, you will type in 2. Next, you'll see a part about the minimum income requirement. Last year, the minimum income requirement was for 2018, 2017, and 2016. And this year, you will see it updated with 2019's requirement, which will go up slightly compared to 2018. So for example, last year, for a family of 6, that is 4 of you and 2 of your parents that you want to sponsor, you needed to have earned $77,095 in 2018, $76,015 in 2017, $75,174 in 2016, with proof through a notice of assessment. If you met this minimum financial threshold, you were eligible to sponsor your parents. Along with the other eligibility questions, if you were a family of 7, including your parents, you would need $85,835 for 2018. And for each additional family member, you will add $8,740. So if you have a big family, or if you've sponsored additional people in the past, your minimum income requirement goes up significantly. Then the form asks you again, based on the information above, do you have enough income to support the total number of persons you would be responsible for? Yes, no, I don't know. So you will make your choice, probably yes. So this was all about you. The next part is about your parents or grandparents. You need to enter their information. So you will start with parent or grandparent number 1, and you will type in their family name, last name or surname as per their official passport. And then you will type in their first name. And if that person doesn't have a first name, you will check this box, just like you did for yourself. You will then enter the date of birth, year of birth, and the day of birth as per their official document. If by any chance they don't have a day or month listed on their passport, you can choose this option and just mention the year of birth. Now, if you want to add another parent, for example, you just entered information for your mother and now you want to add information for your father, you click on this button and you will add their information in a similar manner. Then you have a privacy notice, a disclaimer. Then there is an important declaration at the end that I confirm that I'm only submitting one interest to sponsor form online. And this is very important. If you've asked a bunch of family members, friends to submit additional forms for you and you say, I declare that I'm only submitting one form, this could be potential misrepresentation. You'll type in your name, that will be your electronic signature, and then you will hit the sign and submit button. That's all. Your interest to sponsor form has been submitted. That's pretty much everything. In this whole process, you need to have a scan of your parents' or grandparents' passport just to make sure there are no changes later on. You type in all the information as it is written on their passport. If they do not have a passport right now, make sure the information that you put down, that is the first name, the last name, the date of birth, is as per an official document, which will not change later on when they apply for the passport. But I would recommend that you ask them to have their passport ready before this application. You also need to have a scan of your status in Canada document and make sure you scan it at less than 2.5 MBs. I would also recommend that you also have it in a smaller size, just in case. The requirements might change this year. Maybe when you're trying to log in, you will see the minimum size required is 1 MB. So instead of getting confused, instead of rushing and trying to compress the document at that time, make sure you have a document less than 1 MB as well, but in any case, it shouldn't exceed 2.5 MB. So that's all the information that I have right now. If there are any changes to this form, I will do my best to make sure I upload another video on it so you know what to expect, and hopefully you'll be much more prepared this year. I sincerely wish you a lot of success in your parents and grandparents application. I'll quickly touch upon the eligibility. Who is actually eligible to sponsor their parents or grandparents? Here are some of the requirements for you. First of all, you need to be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or a registered Indian. You need to be living in Canada and you need to be at least 18 years old. Next, if you live outside of Quebec, you need to sign a financial undertaking for 20 years, which means that you're committing that if your parents become permanent residents, for the next 20 years after them becoming permanent residents, you will financially support them and sponsor them and take care of them. Basically, what this means is that they will not apply for social assistance after becoming permanent residents. If they do apply for social assistance, if they take social assistance from the government, you will have to pay that back. If you live in the province of Quebec, they have their own undertaking. Their criteria might change, but you also have to sign an undertaking with them generally their financial requirements are a bit different from other parts of Canada. By the way, one key difference for Quebec is that their financial requirements are much less stringent compared to outside of Quebec. They also don't ask for last 3 years financial documents, they ask for the last 12 months only. So if you're living in Quebec, you'll go through a different process slightly. And there are some things which make you ineligible to sponsor a parent or grandparent. Some of these things are, if you have not earned enough income in the last 3 years, that is based on your family size, LICO plus 30%, this table, you will not be eligible to sponsor them. Also, if you are in a jail or prison, and also if you didn't pay back an immigration loan, a performance bond, a court-ordered family support payment, or child support, you will not be eligible to sponsor. If you sponsored someone in the past, for example, your spouse, and you didn't sponsor them as per your agreement, for example, with the spousal application, you're required to sponsor them for 3 years. And if you didn't sponsor them, you didn't act on your obligation. For example, they took financial assistance and you didn't pay the government back, you'll be ineligible to sponsor your parents now. If you declared bankruptcy and you're not discharged, you cannot sponsor. If you're convicted of a violent offense, inside or outside of Canada, you will not be eligible. If you have a removal order against you, you cannot sponsor your parents. If you receive social assistance for a reason other than disability, so I'm not talking about special EI payments. For example, if you took a parental leave or something, that's okay. But if you took social assistance, you're not eligible to sponsor your parents now. Hopefully you meet all the eligibility requirements. After watching this video, you should be good to go and you should be mentally prepared, know what to expect, and hopefully be successful in your PGP application. I made this video as per the information that is available right now. If anything changes, I will try my best to make another video. The purpose of this video is just to share information. This is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please feel free to get in touch. My contact information is mentioned in the description. I am an ICCRC regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and hopefully I can help you out. If you found this video to be helpful, if you would like to see more videos, if you want to be notified if there is a change in PGP, if you want to learn about other changes in Canada's immigration policy, if you think there is something that your family or friends might benefit from, please do subscribe to the channel. I do my best to share updated content on time. I'll also share any updates related to the PGP. And if you want to receive notification instantly, also click on the bell icon. Apparently you have to click on the bell icon also. Subscribing isn't enough. But anyhow, just subscribe, click on the bell icon on YouTube, and you are good to go. So that's all, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you a lot of success in your parents and grandparents application. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching.